rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I just want to thank everybody for coming. It's nice to have a packed room. We have a pretty full agenda tonight, and it's a regular business meeting. I imagine that many of you are here to lend your voices or participate in part of the music programming discussion. There will be a piece on the agenda in our planning report that will address that. And there are two sections within our agenda that have opportunities for public comment. But we do have some awards tonight for students, and you know, our tradition of putting the kids first, we would like to start there. But before we can do that, we have to introduce our brand new board member who is here for his first meeting tonight. So I'd like to introduce Tom Pellegrino, who's the new member of the Madison Board of Education. Dr. Pellegrino is a special assistant to the president at Fairfield University. Prior to that appointment, and for the majority of his 14 years at Fairfield, Tom served as senior vice president for student affairs. In that role, he led and oversaw student development, student services, campus ministry, residential life, career planning, health and counseling, recreation and athletics, and public safety. Tom has been an adjunct professor at the Dolan School of Business, teaching a course on negotiation and dispute resolution. He chaired numerous strategic planning processes for the university, oversaw the Athletics Compliance and Grievance Committee, and was the treasurer of the Jesuit Association of Student Personnel Administrators. Prior to starting at Fairfield in 2004, Dr. Pellegrino practiced law for 10 years at Clendenson and Shea in New Haven for 10 years. He holds a bachelor's degree in politics from Fairfield University, a Juris Doctor from Syracuse University College of Law, and a PhD in educational administration from the University of Connecticut. Tom's a Connecticut native. He grew up in East Haven. He and his wife Carla moved to Madison in 1998. Together, they're teachers at St. Margaret's Religious Education Confirmation Program. And last but not least, they're raising their son, Christopher, who is a freshman at Daniel Hand. So I'm delighted to welcome Tom to the table. Thank you. Okay, so that's next on the agenda is our recognitions.
Hi, good evening. My name is Gail Dolling-Hench. I have the privilege of filling in for Superintendent Scarice. He is presently attending the Polson Spring Play, where his daughter is playing one of the lead roles in the play. So I'd like to welcome you, and I'd like to start with our CAVE Student Leadership Awards. CAVE is the Connecticut Association for Boards of Education, and every year they give out awards for students who exhibit exemplary leadership skills. Those students are in grades 7 through 12, and we are able to honor 2 students from Polson tonight and 2 students from Daniel Hand. The criteria is amazing. The students have to exhibit leadership skills in the following ways: willingness to take on challenges, capability to make difficult decisions, concern for others, ability to work with others, willingness to commit on a project, diplomacy, ability to understand issues clearly, and ability to honor a commitment. That's an incredible assortment of skills, and we're pleased to welcome people here tonight. I'm going to start with Polson. Mr. Henderson's here to say a few words. We're able to recognize Kevin Sandor tonight, who's one of the recipients, and there's another recipient, Tatum Maxwell, who could not attend tonight's meeting, but will be here to receive her award on June 19th. So, welcome, Mr. Henderson.
Thank you. First of all, thank you to the board for including the middle school in the CAVE. We've been doing this for a few years. It's been great. Come on up here, Mr. Sandor. I'm not going to read alone. I don't like to read things, but there's so much here from teachers and things. I'll read part of it that we put together. Respectful, polite, intelligent, dedicated, and most of all humble are words faculty members use to immediately when they talk about Kevin Sandor. Whether he's working on a peer helper project or just interacting with a friend at school, Kevin will always be respectful and kind. Although he does not describe himself as a leader, the people who observe him on a daily basis say he leads by example. I have more to read, but just the other day, school was just about to start, kids were coming in, and one of his teachers, Kevin, walked by and said good morning, and she just grabbed me and goes, I love that kid. I want my son to be like that kid. Kevin's team of teachers state, Kevin's sense of humor and easygoing nature make him an absolute breath of fresh air and a pleasure to teach. His peers look at him for guidance, both academically and socially. His teachers look at him to lead by example. His leadership and maturity come naturally to him. He's humble and extremely well-rounded, excelling both in and outside of school. He will be sorely missed by his teachers as he moves on to high school, and we know he'll be successful whatever he does. In addition to being an outstanding student and always on the honor roll, Kevin is an active member of the Madison Youth and Family Service programs and has a strong interest in robotics. He plays ice hockey and lacrosse, where he's a leader in both sports. Whether working independently or collaboratively, Kevin takes the initiative, leads by example, and encourages other students to do their best. One teacher reached out to me and wanted me to add something that said, Kevin has been the go-to person when a student is in need of a friend or support. And I know the situation where Kevin's called on a number of times to help out a couple of students. He happily accepts other students who have known to sit with at lunch or be around the halls. He's a part of a weekly little lunch group that helps students work on social skills. Even when not with a specific group, he remains calm and kind to all. Because of this, there are students who feel connected to a peer at school. Kevin's the youngest and last of the Sanders to attend Polson. Our school community is a better place because of Kevin and his sisters, although, and I don't want to offend his sisters, they may have saved the best for last. So we thank them and this young man for all he's done for Polson. You like that, don't you?
How many people are here from Kevin's family? Thought it was all of you. And I see Mrs. Phelps here as well, beaming as you're speaking. Congratulations. Great job.
He's taller than me.
Everyone's taller.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Welcome, Mr. Salutaria. We have two students here from Daniel Hand, and we'll start with our very own Emily Baker.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
All right.
Hi, everybody.
So come over here. This is like awkward. I don't want our back to you. And I'd like to thank you again to the board for the invitation, similar to what Mr. Henderson had said as well. Kevin, congratulations. We look forward to having you at high school very soon. And it would be, it's always an honor to be here. Selecting 2 students out of 292 is always challenging. It's our current senior class. I think even more challenging is trying to summarize everything these students have done over the years. So, we could write things forever, but we try and be to the point, and they're truly 2 amazing students. First, with Emily Baker. We're really excited to have her as our CAPE student leader for Daniel Hand. And Emily is an intelligent and highly motivated young person. Her incredible accomplishments over the past 4 years at Daniel Hand High School are not surprising and are a result of her drive and dedication to her commitments. Academically, Emily sets extremely high standards for herself. Her studious work ethic, meticulous time management skills, and perseverance are some of her strongest academic attributes. Emily thrives on a challenge as demonstrated by the program of study she has selected over the past 4 years. Emily is eager to learn and is never one to take the easy route. As a result, she has achieved tremendous academic success. Comfortable looking to talk about in front of everyone? You're doing a great job. I could have you read it before. Emily has a variety of interests outside of the classroom. She is a competitive and successful runner on the cross-country and track teams. Her dedication and enthusiasm set a positive tone on each team, and she's an excellent role model for her peers. Emily is also very involved in music and theater at Daniel Hand. She has showcased her talent by playing in the Shoreline Youth Symphony Orchestra and performing in the fall play and spring musical productions each year at Daniel Hand. Emily has also made time in her busy schedule to serve her community. She volunteers at her church, is a founder of a club called Hearts for Hounds, and she is close to completing a successful 2-year commitment as a student representative for the Madison Board of Education. In this role, she has effectively communicated with the public on a wide variety of information that pertains to the high school. She has also offered her input as a student regarding several Board of Education agenda topics. In this important role, her honesty and input have been certainly valued and appreciated. Emily is a congenial and sociable young person who is a pleasure to know. She is kind-hearted, easygoing, and enjoyable to be around. She relates well to others and is considerate to everyone who crosses her path. She is mature, responsible, honest, and trustworthy, and is an individual with the highest character and integrity. Emily has proven to have desire, initiative, leadership qualities, and an eagerness to be successful in all her future endeavors. Congratulations. In the middle.
Proud of you.
Okay, now I think.
So Michael, you ready? The anticipation of coming up is probably worse than standing there, right? Welcome.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure to introduce Michael Campanelli. No. You can't hide back there. Michael is an incredible student and, more importantly, an incredible young person. His work ethic over the past 4 years at Daniel Hand High School is one of the many reasons why he has earned the respect of the entire DHHS faculty and his peers. Academically, Michael is an extremely bright and highly motivated student who has challenged himself with the most rigorous program of study available. He has excelled in these rigorous courses due to his remarkable focus and self-discipline. Michael is able to overcome challenges as a result of a studious work ethic and persistent attitude. Outside of the classroom, Michael makes volunteerism a priority in his life. His participation in charitable efforts has significantly impacted the lives of countless individuals. As an active member of his church youth group, Michael assists on a variety of community service projects, participates in mission trips, teaches religious education, volunteers as an altar server, and plays in the music ministry. Michael has started, when I wrote this, I wrote Michael was working on starting, but Michael has started a club at Hand called APK in support of Captain Andrew Peterson Keel, who was killed in Afghanistan. This club is intended to support active, retired, wounded, and fallen warriors. In addition to incredible humanitarian work, Michael has a passion for music. He plays the viola in several ensembles and is a talented and hardworking musician. Michael hopes to continue performing and studying music while in college. Michael is an incredibly likable and friendly young man. People gravitate towards him due to a warm-hearted, genuine personality, as his internally pleasant and cheerful demeanor makes him enjoyable to be around. Michael has numerous strengths, but one in particular is his ability to relate effortlessly to adults as well as people his own age. It is not surprising that he's established an excellent rapport with all members of the Daniel Hand High School community. Michael has a strong moral compass and his character is impeccable. He is mature, honest, reliable, non-judgmental, and respectful of everyone he encounters. His work ethic, combined with a magnetic personality, has certainly ensured his current success and will no doubt ensure success in all his future endeavors. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. So the next item on our agenda is public participation, and I just, this is our business meeting that we hold twice a month, and so we run it as such. We do follow and have always followed Robert's Rules of Order. There are 2 points during our meetings, as I said before, for public participation. Now and then again, later towards the end of the agenda, to provide an opportunity for a response to the information we present. I'm aware that some of you may want to speak regarding the proposed changes to 5th grade music at Brown School. It might be helpful to know that because this work is being done at the committee level, an outline of this committee's work will be presented as part of the planning report later in the agenda. We welcome everyone's input, and we're very happy that you're here. Anyone who wants to speak at either public comment time, we ask that you please stand, state your name and address for the record, and fill out one of these blue forms that's located on the table over there. Everyone has 3 minutes to speak, and if there are questions or concerns that we ask that you submit them as well on the blue form so that we can follow up. Again, that's part of the parliamentary procedure of Robert's Rules of Order. I just want to close by saying before we begin that we are all here to listen to you. We know that you want to be heard. We know that you want to have a voice, and that's why we're glad that you're here. So thank you for coming, and let's begin. Is there any member of the public who would like to speak?
Should I stay here or move up there?
Anywhere you're comfortable.
Okay. I didn't fill out a booth form, and I didn't
You
know
can do it
that-
after you speak.
I didn't know there was a time requirement, so I do have a prepared statement. My
Okay.
name is Cynthia Dreyer. I'm a Madison resident, and I'd just like to read something that I wrote. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to address the board. I'm here to voice my support for the current music programs in Madison Public Schools and to voice my concern that recent changes to the music curriculum as part of the school reconfiguration plan will negatively impact education in our schools. I am the vice president of Hand Music Boosters, the parent of a high school student who has been involved in Madison's music program since elementary school, and I myself am also a former Madison Public School student. Although I did not pursue an education or career in music, the Madison Public School music program was, beyond question, the most positive influence on my education from elementary all the way through high school. I did not just learn music from the teachers and program, I learned invaluable life skills. The legacy and reputation of this exceptional music program was a significant factor in our decision to move back to Madison. We wanted our daughter to benefit from the program as I did, and clearly she has. Sadly, I believe this change will diminish these opportunities for younger Madison students. The new curriculum presented by the Board of Ed Planning Committee impacts music programs initially at Brown School by eliminating the current structure of band, chorus, and orchestra ensembles in 5th grade. The replacement music program for all 5th grade students, regardless of interest, is comprised of 1 trimester each of theater, music general, which presumably includes vocal instruction, and music instrumental. Of course, there are many facets of this plan, but detailed information is not available to the public. I firmly believe that these changes will negatively impact music programs from 5th grade all the way through high school, and following are just a few of the many concerns and potential consequences. Number 1, eliminating 5th grade ensembles will delay students' musical development and performance experience by 1 academic year. This delay will create repercussive impacts on ensembles in all Madison schools. The replacement program does not appear to be comparable in any way. Although it is being presented as a positive program change, with considerable discretion for music educators to determine the substance and content of instruction, the reality is that whatever instruction they choose must still fall within these new parameters. This will ultimately result in a significant reduction in concentrated music instruction. For example, it is not possible for a student to learn to play a complex band or orchestra instrument in one trimester, nor would it be cost-effective to rent a band or orchestra instrument for one trimester. Therefore, the in-school instrumental instruction will be relegated to beginning instruments such as recorders or basic percussion. One trimester of recorder instruction cannot be compared to one full year of classroom clarinet instruction with performance experience. The burden will fall to parents to pay for private instruction for those students who are interested in learning a more advanced instrument. And surely not all parents have the means to do this. We currently have exceptional, award-winning vocal and instrumental music programs at Daniel Hand, and a high school student with 1 year less of instruction, preparation, and experience will simply not be able to perform at the same level as our current students. Second, eliminating choice at the 5th grade level may decrease overall interest in music programs. Students of this age are developmentally capable of deciding between band, chorus, and orchestra. Forcing all students to take a trimester of each will frustrate those who know what they want to do and may result in apathy for the music program in general. Countless studies have shown that, similar to learning a foreign language, musical skills are better developed with a strong foundation at younger ages. Many schools, including Madison Public Schools in the past, start kids on instruments even earlier than 5th grade. These are critical years to foster development of musical skills, and the lack of concentrated instruction at this age may reduce interest and involvement in later grades. I have one more paragraph.
Okay, fair enough.
The current music programs are highly effective and successful. The reason our programs are so successful is not due to any one specific teacher or class. They are successful because of the big picture approach and the model of outstanding continuity and collaboration from school to school. The new curriculum significantly disrupts the flow of this cumulative learning strategy and represents a fundamental shift that will ultimately impact the musical development and proficiency of students at the high school level. Our high school music programs have already been forced to overcome the challenges of an entirely inadequate performance venue, otherwise known as the cafetorium, and this new curriculum change is yet another blow to our music programs. According to its bylaws, the Board of Ed will, and I quote, seek systematic communications between the board members and students, staff, and all elements of the community, make special efforts to involve parents and the public in the process of formulating educational policy, and continuously attempt to assess public opinion as a means of assisting the BOE in determining policy and of assisting the professional staff operating the schools. End quote. To that end, I implore you to reconsider this change and consult with our music educators to investigate alternatives. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Good evening. My name is Cameron Payne. I live at 57 Neck Road. I have a daughter, Lily, who is right now in Brown. She thrives in the music program, and I thought what I would do is approach this from a business perspective. Until last year, I ran the multiple listing service for the state of Connecticut. So what does that mean? It's the product, the technology that realtors use to share listings with their clients in Connecticut. The reason I bring that up is, whether you realize this or not, we use third-party vendors to score schools. Part of that scoring is how they spend money. And part of how they spend money is whether or not they spend money on the arts. So if you remove funding for the 5th grade art program, you will materially harm the property value in Madison. There is no question about it. So when I look at where I would want to live in Connecticut, I am Connecticut born and bred. I've lived all over the country, and I came back to Connecticut. And I had my choice of where to live. My office was in Wallingford. I could have lived anywhere within an hour's commute. I chose Madison. And I chose Madison because of the arts programs for my daughter. That was important to me because I am a Grammy Award-winning musician. That is no longer what I do. I run companies now. But I want to stress for you that 5th grade is an inflection point for children. It is the point where kids who don't have other options are looking for something as their foundation. For me, I was lucky enough to be involved in sports and music. Some kids are not that lucky. You cannot pull the rug out from under them. Let me phrase that another way. I think it would be great if instead of pulling the rug out from under them, you give them the opportunity, the children who may not be involved in sports, give them something to rely on, give them that foundation, and music it's the soul. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Jack McShane. I graduated in the class of 2011. I come here before you as a music educator in East Lyme, a musician, and a product of Madison. I started my instrumental music program in 5th grade in Madison. I was fortunate enough to get a trumpet handed down, and did not think I would be able to. I remember going to band class being really, really excited. And if anyone is a brass player, the first 35 minutes of that, I'm also lucky to have a bunch of students here too. The first 35 minutes of blowing into that instrument was probably the worst experience of my life. But then I learned a very important lesson, perseverance. I had a lot to say about, my experience, but in East Lyme, I have a similar program to what you are proposing right now, an instrumental trial program, and we're trying to fix that. It's not working. We keep looking around the state, we keep asking, we're trying to find programs that really work, and HAND is always mentioned, HAND has an elite music program, HAND has this, HAND has that, why can't we be like that? I think it would be awful to take away from the kids. It'd be really hard. I'm an athlete, I'm a musician, even more of a musician now, and without that, I don't know what I would be. So, please think about what you're doing before you do it.
Hi, my name is Eric Dillner. I have a 9th grader at Daniel Hand High School. So 33 Cornish Woods is my address. I'm also the executive director of the Shoreline Arts Alliance, which is the arts council for 24-town region. And in addition to that, I'm on the board of directors of the Connecticut Nonprofit Alliance as the arts voice of the arts for the state of Connecticut. I fight for arts every day, often at the Capitol, working hard to say, hey, let's get it throughout the state of Connecticut. I have to say I never would have imagined that I would be standing up in my own hometown saying, let's make sure that we keep music in the schools or keep the direction the right way. Now, honestly, I don't know the plan, and I want to learn about the plan. I'm hoping we could learn a little bit tonight about that. I picked up the phone this morning and called Christina Newman-Scott, who is the Connecticut Office of the Arts, she's not the commissioner anymore, the director of arts for the state of Connecticut. And I said, what do you feel we should be talking about tonight? And she said, there's lots and lots of statistics that we can look at. I reminded her, we talked a little bit about, I brought a whole stack of things, but I'm not going to pull out. But I'm going to pull one out. There's this little thing that was built in Washington, D.C. about arts and education and what arts does for kids when they get it early and young. What are the things that are impacted in their life? And it's amazing to me that, like, if you look at this little billboard, you can see that like reading music helps with dyslexia. Like, there are so many things that we can do to help. Let's talk about drugs. It gives them a focus. I mean, this gentleman down here just said, look, he was given a purpose in life. He had sports and he had art. You know, not everybody can find something, but if we give them an opportunity to taste a little bit of it all, we're going to find ways of solving some of these big problems that we have in our world today. So, again, I don't know the plan, but I want you to just remember that if there's anything that's related to cutting something related to this arts, don't let it happen. Please don't let it happen in my town. Don't let it happen in your town. And I know that the state of Connecticut will be behind us in saying, great, good job, but we can't look outside of the town for help. That was the one message I got today when I was talking to the state was, you know, you guys are rich. You don't need our help. And that's very sad that that's what I heard today. We have kids, we have families who cannot afford to run to a private institution to get that help. Make sure that we have it in the public schools. This is a great school. Yes, it doesn't have all the facilities we'd love it to have, but the teachers are really what can give us something important for our kids. So I just plead with you to whatever comes down the pipe when we have to cut, let's make sure that we're giving these kids something that they can believe in so that we don't have the crazy things that we see on TV. So fight for Madison. Thanks.
My name is Ian Lehman, part of the Southern Regional Middle School Band. Matt?
My name is Matthew Vetter.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Kip Pierce.
So, we're all students at Brown Middle School, and in school, yes, I may not be the best language arts students. I may not be the best athlete. But band is something that brings you joy in the day. Something you look forward to. And to cut that from Brown Middle School would be a disappointment to the rest of the students coming up, and it'd just be something that they don't have anymore. Something that, yes, you can say, oh, well, they'll have for that part of that trimester. Yes, but you can't learn all that you need to do in that part. The amount of time it takes for me just to learn to play a couple of notes on my trombone, and it takes that encouragement from friends. It's a community. The band can build, the orchestra can build, the chorus can build. It'll help give you some passion and something to look forward to for kids who may not excel at everything else. It is something that you can look forward to in your day and not just be like, oh, well, this day stinks, oh well. Might as well just get it through.
Oh, okay. Well, so I just wanted to talk about how meaningful band and jazz band has been to me in the 2 years that I have been at Brown. So I moved here in 5th grade and sort of made my first friends in through band class. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just a very meaningful experience.
Okay, so we are all band members of Brown School, and so I would like to talk about quickly how band brings actually problem-solving skills and new ways to come over. And like, for instance, when I started, I didn't know how to read notes. I didn't know how to even see all these music, and I just learned all these new things, and that was in 5th grade. But by taking away orchestra and chorus, I think, it's not giving you that opportunity to have this good problem-solving skills and being able to read these notes that can help you in your later life. Okay, yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
Reminder, if you didn't, make sure that you fill these out. Thank you. Go ahead, sorry.
No worries. So Tyler Bigay, 6 Sylvan Road. I just want to start back in 4th grade. I remember the one thing, aside from a new cool school and getting to say I was going to go into 5th grade, was that I looked forward to was being able to get my hands on a clarinet, and I was so excited. And it was the one thing that I looked forward to. and I had such a blast. And I can say from now where I am, I'm head drum major of the Daniel Hand Tiger Band. I see the immense joy that it brings so many people, that it brings me, and I can confidently say that this music program saved my life. I mean, I had a rough time in life and with things going on, and being able to always have that one thing, whether it be in the band room with Mr. Gage or hanging out with Mr. Soja, playing with Mr. Ferguson, anything. It's been able to inspire me, to keep me going. It's been able to keep a lot of people going, and I just want the board to realize how many students this will impact. I mean, just the band alone is almost 200 students. The music program is not just the people who are in band, orchestra, or chorus. There's also music theory, there will hopefully maybe be guitar, there's piano classes. There's people who just take that one class, but they are part of the music program, and they do learn from it, and it's very important to everyone. And by shifting this program and taking away the foundation, you're going to effectively rattle even the top, the 12th graders. I mean, one of the things that's fun about band is that we don't have to worry about what we're playing. We learn it, we know what we're doing, we have fun, and we bring joy to other people. I've had so many parents come up to me and say that the highlight of the game, even though it is a football game, is the band. And I do believe that changing this program will negatively affect this whole school and community. So, thank you.
So I'm speaking on the behalf of the Tiger Band, and also my friend Riley McDevitt wrote this. It's a letter to all of you. Being students of the Madison school system, we are held to high standards. We grow with our surroundings, peers, and mentors. Students here in the Daniel Hand Band respectively believe that it would be foolish to take away the opportunity to properly begin an instrument in 5th grade. The band is not a class we are forced to take. It's something that young students are passionate for. Students learn to try and fit in the school at a very young age. The band atmosphere is a place where everyone is equal. We all play instruments, popularity doesn't matter, we have fun while learning. Students are stressed and sometimes don't know where to turn when they are overwhelmed. Band class in 5th grade is where students are truly excited to learn about an instrument. It is a place where students walk fast through the halls to happily arrive to class. 5th grade band is filled with young adolescents who need a stress reliever. Band helps students to get their worries off their minds and focus on music. How can you even consider taking that away? The Daniel Hand Band is considered an elite band because of where the students started and how much instruction they had. If the opportunity was taken, the DHHS band would have a hard time growing and staying one of the #1 bands. Students would have already lost interest in starting a new instrument by the time the school system offered it. Madison is already losing population. Imagine the decrease of students coming to Madison, and on top of that, the loss of interest in students to start band due to offering it too late. A study in 2011 at the Auditorial Neuroscientist Laboratory at Northwestern University concluded that music and reading are related via common neural and cognitive mechanisms, and suggests that a mechanism for the improvements in literacy seen with musical training. In simpler terms, learning music benefits students in all aspects of education. We ask you that you keep the opportunity for students to take band the whole year in 5th grade. Thank you. With passion, Riley McDevitt and the Daniel Hand Band. One band, one sound.
Hi, I'm Ruby Redlick, and 15 Island Avenue. And starting band in 5th grade with Mrs. Murphy was one of my favorite experiences at Brown. I was really excited to start the baritone horn, and what I learned from Mrs. Murphy, including how fun band is, has stuck with me, and it certainly impacted my decision to stick with band throughout high school. Also, I think the new plan's elimination of incoming fifth graders' choice between which art they do is not good, because getting to say I was choosing a class was one of the biggest distinctions from me going from elementary school to middle school, and it also is an important introduction to making course selections, which can still be overwhelming.
You go first.
I'm Holly Vetter. I'm a third grader at Jeffrey, and my brother's right there.
Hi.
He's really liked the band and the jazz band, and I was really looking forward to going. And I really want to go, and I don't want this to be taken away from me. It sounds like a really wonderful experience. And I'm starting trumpet and piano, and it's been a really good experience. But I want to go to Brown, and I want to go to the music program. I don't want that to be taken away from me.
Hi, Stephanie Lesnick, 623 Green Hill Road. These are kind of hard acts to follow. I commend you guys all for being here, kids. I'm a parent who's currently has 4 kids in the Madison Public School System, and just had my 4th child play in the 5th grade band, and had their spring concert. I don't need to tell you how great it is. You all know, I know that you know, and I'm sure you're equally as proud of the program as we are. But I do think, well, before I say my opinion, I'll echo Mr. Dellner's words. I don't know what the agenda is. I only know the little bits I've heard, so I'm trying to have an open mind, and I'm speaking now because I'm afraid I might hit my bedtime before the second public comment period, but I want you to know that I don't think that cutting this opportunity for 5th graders is the greatest choice, even though I haven't heard the other options. I will remain open-minded, but I think it's a very valuable program. I think the teachers are extremely valuable. Part of me is nervous that this is like a stepping stone to cutting more music teachers, and I don't know where this goes. I understand the decreasing enrollment, we have to face these things, but I'm a little bit cautious about that. So it's a great program. It's clearly valuable in our children. They're developmentally ready for that commitment and that choice, and the way they perform. I was blown away when I went to the high school stuff last year when I had high schoolers in the marching band. I was blown away, and then subsequently went to a 5th grade concert for my son. I thought, oh my God, this is actually where it all starts. This is the roots, and roots are really, really important to anything. So think hard, long and hard is all. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Elliott. I know a lot of you. It's great to see you. I live at 50 Beechwood, and I have 4 children who have either graduated from the Madison Public School System, twin daughters who've graduated, and I have 2 sons still enrolled, and they've all been through this string program, which is what I know best. And just to say, Madison's string program was why we put our house on the market when our twin daughters were in 5th grade and moved here. We were only 1 town away, and they were the only 2 kids who played violin and cello in their grade. And if you ask, well, why isn't there a string orchestra? The answer would be because no kids play strings, so why have a string program in high school? At the time, there were also budget cuts and talk of pay to play, no chance for adding a string program ever. It was like we were living in a box and feeling like flat Stanleys, and the kids in the next town over lived in a cube and had that experience of a dimension that cracked open their minds and hearts and allowed springs to flow in ways my kids would never know unless we acted. So we moved here to Madison, where all our children have played in the orchestras and chamber ensemble, and even an all-cello ensemble, and ultimately much more, everything from the 6th grade jazz band to high school groups, including chorus, wassail, encore, vibe, and the musicals. Was the move here for the strong string program worth it? We think so. It's been like a second family to us, thanks to Jessica Shaver, Carolyn Bulick, and the communities they've created for our children. We need to appreciate the integrated grade 5-6 orchestra and the remarkable degree to which our wonderful and beloved director, Jessica Shaver, motivates young musicians by choosing music they love to play. Rock, blues, Appalachian folk, shaker tunes, movie soundtrack numbers, and awe-inspiring classical music. I hope some of you on the board recently had a chance to attend the grade 5-6 orchestra concert, because it was absolutely fantastic. The younger ones are brought up by the older ones. They play together. Some may only be playing whole notes, easy open strings. Some are playing on higher levels, and they're all playing together. Really is a 2-year program, okay? And it's meant to operate that way, and it's very strong because of that. Let's see, it's inclusive, inspirational, and fun for all levels. This is where we build and grow our base, our musical community, and where the students learn to collaborate with one another, listen to one another, respect one another, learn from one another, and love one another. These are the musicians we cultivate and motivate, and if we knock out that 2-year development program in the 5th and 6th grades, and even younger, I think it should start even younger, that's me, we'll lose our base. I do believe this. We'll depopulate it, and ultimately will jeopardize our string programs and other arts programs, and the school system's attractiveness to those residents and taxpayers who, as we did, move here for the arts, music, and opportunities other towns have cut. Okay, the end.
Hi, Jean Card, 2 Bradley Road. I'm going to try and connect a bunch of dots that have been said in here. I have 3 kids who've gone through the Madison Public Schools, and in 1st grade, my son came home and said to me, "Mom, I'm stupid. I can't read. Everyone else is reading big books and I can't." He has dyslexia. In 5th grade, he started band. He plays trumpet. Go Brass. Yeah. He came home and said to me, "Mom, I can read." For the first time, he'd found a language he could read. I'm going to move fast forward. Okay, he played at the high school. He went on to be in Connecticut All-State Regionals, and he earned a scholarship to the University of New Hampshire, substantial, for 4 years, where he's studying music education, because the program meant so much that he wants to go on and have that be there for other students. Boys up here, you were very articulate in saying, band becomes a place where you feel like you can thrive. Howard Gardner talks about the theory of multiple intelligence. Not everyone is designed to do physics. Not everyone is designed to be a Red Sox player. But my son would never have found music if it weren't for the program at Brown. And he's here now. I don't know if he wants to add anything.
Yeah, I have 3 brief things. Will Card, partial to Bradley resident, this college. So first thing, just what music gave me was just like, I mean, you touched on it. It's just a place where I could read. It was a safe place, and it was a place I could thrive. But most of all, it was, for me, a leadership place where, I mean, I got cut from the baseball team my freshman year, and I learned athletics weren't my thing. But after that, I mean, being first chair in band and other places where I was in many other music groups, it gave me a place where I could be a leader, and I didn't need to be on a sports team. And you don't get that in bio, you don't get that in math or anything like that. The other thing is, just for me, I mean, I've been coming back. I'm going to be a junior in college this year, and I've been coming back and talking to Mr. Gage and just looking at what he's made at the high school level, and it's something that you don't see everywhere, and he's made a lot of progression. And when you cut it at such a low level where 5th grade is so detrimental for the kids, for their learning experience, it will really affect, and you'll see it over the years, it'll affect the way high school players learn. And I mean, that's just not coming from an opinion. This past year at UNH, I taught 5th and 6th grade music up at Oyster River, the high school in Durham, and they don't have anything near to what we have here, and they are really, really hurting from it. So, I mean, yeah, that's it.
All right. 145 Genesee and try to jump around. A lot of you said things I wanted to say already, and the students are awesome for all your sentiments. But I have three daughters who have gone through the Madison school system. The youngest is going to be graduating in a month. So I'll no longer have a horse in this race, actually. But what I wanted to speak to was the fact that parents that have younger children might not realize what they'd be missing if things are changed. My three girls have played sports and whatnot, but really their love was music. Between all three girls, they've been involved in every musical program, play, except for sale. And so, been to every concert, going on up. Moved here 12 years ago. The school we moved from in another state, that program started in 4th grade. I didn't do private lessons before that, but my oldest daughter had a little bit of a leg up when she got here. I think, because of that. By the time she was a sophomore, she was playing an all New England Symphony. She found a home with the music program. Not every kid, as others have said, is an athlete. What they get as a community, education-wise, support, and something I want to also say is that the teachers in this program are beyond. They are outstanding, and I just want to recognize them. I'm also concerned that if there are changes, that those teachers, maybe they would go elsewhere. We'd lose that talent. Those teachers put in so much over and beyond. I mean, maybe younger kids don't realize how much they put in, their heart, their extra time. They just really make the program what it is. So in addition to everything else that everyone has said, despite the fact that I won't have kids in the program anymore, I really want you to consider it for the future of the kids in the school system here. I also want to add that I was in the Music Boosters as secretary for many years and president of the Shoreline Youth Symphony for about 7 or 8, I don't remember. But those music programs, I see what has come from the Madison school system, having worked with kids all over the shoreline, from East Lyme up through Wallingford, down through Milford, and the kids from the Madison school system, and I'm not talking kids that have had private lessons, I'm talking kids that have participated in the public school, have gotten such enrichment from band through orchestra. It's just been incredible. So I really would urge you to reconsider any changes that you would make. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Michael Campanelli. I'm at 309 Greenhill Road. I don't really have anything prepared. I'll try and keep this brief. So in 5th grade is when I started playing viola, and before that I hadn't really had any musical talent really in my family. No one really played any instruments, and I didn't really know what to expect, and I was going back and forth whether or not I even wanted to play an instrument, but ultimately I decided that I would choose the viola. I listened online and I thought, all right, this sounds really nice, I'm going to try this. So in 5th grade I started playing, and I realized that I really enjoyed it, and I moved up in grades, and I'm really thankful for Mrs. Shaver and for all that she did to start me out, and from there I just continued to grow. And 7th and 8th grade I was in the Southern Region Orchestra, and then throughout my 4 years in high school I've been able to go to the Southern Region Orchestra, all states, all New Englands, and ultimately this past year I was able to attend the All National Orchestra in Florida, and I was able to represent Daniel Hand High School along with schools from across the country and perform with 600 other people from around the country, which has been an extremely amazing experience. And I just think that if we were to start with the instruments another year, especially for me, I don't know if I would be where I am. And since then, next year I'm going to be going to college, and I feel really lucky to have gotten a substantial strings scholarship, and I'll be studying music. And I think that if I hadn't had that opportunity, I don't think I would be in the same place right now. So I would strongly urge you guys to reconsider whatever it is you're going to do. Thanks.
Kevin Sandor. 33 Kelsey Springs Drive. I didn't really prepare to say anything, but I just remember walking into 5th grade and not really knowing what to think, and I'd seen my sister play in the band, and I thought that's pretty cool. So I had 3 classes to choose from in 4th grade, and I was like, I'll do band. I walked into first day band class, and Mrs. Shaver had all these different instruments laid out on the table, and I didn't know which one to pick, and she started playing them all, and it was beautiful, and I was like, okay, this is awesome. I totally got into the right thing. And as I started playing it was kind of boring at first. You had to do all the scales, and it felt like work, and I never thought this is a class I'm going to develop a passion for I want to go to. But I know that now in 8th grade, I look forward to 9th period band class, and I'm like, oh, thank God I have band and not gym, because I have to work and stuff. Either way, so I just wanted to say that it's something that a community and you can develop a passion for, and it makes my day. So.
Hi, my name is Lisa Leventhal. I had not prepared a statement. I live at 123 Acorn, but I just wanted to add that there's something wonderful about going to the football games in the fall and seeing children of all ages, seeing older graduates, long time past graduates, attend the games, and the band really fosters a sense of pride in the community and a sense of community. It's one of the places, a few places as you advance through the grades where you have an opportunity for multi-age instruction and mentorship, peer-to-peer mentorship. Also, having both a reluctant musician and an eager musician in the family, I can attest that it's been equally and differently valuable for each child. My younger child in particular, while standing in the auditorium at Island Avenue School, saw Mrs. Shaver come in and picked one of the less common instruments that are played, and she has had the opportunity to have very high quality instruction at no cost, and also that interest has led her to pursue multiple instruments. I am now paying for outside lessons, and I can attest to the cost that's attached to that. But having older children, I can also add that the quality of the music programming here in town is such that the colleges that my children are interested in recognize our community for the value of the music education that we offer. It is a selling point for our children who are eagerly anticipated by the music programs at the secondary level. And that is a beautiful benefit as a parent who would like to see their children succeed and continue as musicians. So thank you very much.
Hi, Maya Road, 278 Lumbertown Road. So I've been playing in the Daniel Hand Orchestra. I'm a freshman. I've been playing violin since I was 4. I forced my parents to let me play. And when I got to Brown, I was so excited that I could finally be part of a big orchestra. And it's given me so many friends and so many great experiences that I've had. I played in the pit this year with Ms. McShane, and I played with a lot of the people that are in the ensembles at hand. And it's just honestly been so much fun. I've had so many people come up to me and be like, oh, you're so lucky that you have such a great music program at your school. But at the same time, orchestra is not the most popular ensemble, and the enrollment has been declining. And a solution for that would not be cutting it back. I think that we should be advertising and be orchestra is a great program because it really has given me, it's such a fun class. I look forward to every day. This year, I took music theory with Mr. Soja, and that was such a fun class, and it just has helped me so much. It's always given me a class that I can just be okay, I get a break, I enjoy this, I know what I'm doing, and it's just been such a good thing. I'm in the chamber, and that's immersed me in so much more skills that I might not have learned in normal orchestra, and I wouldn't have got that if we didn't have such a great music program at hand. And I think that if we were to cut the program and push us back a year, we would not get to this standard. And I think that it's really important to have a good music program that's up with the rest of the state. And we would be one of the few that starts in 5th grade rather than 4th grade. Where we lived before, our music program started when we were in 3rd grade, and I moved the year before we would have started that, and I was so bummed that I couldn't be part of that. And so when we finally got to Brown, I was like so excited, and I have had so many amazing friends and so many amazing experiences in that, and thank you.
Sorry. Okay, I'm Caitlin Sandor, 53 Kelsey Springs Drive. I just want to talk about the sense of community that you get through band. So I play on a number of I play on the varsity ice hockey team, and I do robotics in the community. And band is something special that you get at school. You meet every other day at Brown, or how it was with the previous beginning band program, and every day at the high school. And it's a group of people who I'm not necessarily friends with, like very close friends with, or that I associate with, but you have a huge community where you come in as a freshman and the senior passes you in the hallway and they're like, hey Caitlin, like you're a band kid, I know you from band camp. It's a really special place where you can go every day and see, or every other day, especially in middle school, and see people that you know. And even when middle school is a stressful time, when I was in 5th grade, it was a combination of all the different elementary schools. You got to meet new kids in a safe environment where you were doing something that no one was good at, so there was no like competitive nature or anything like that. Everyone sucked at it, so you kind of just did it together. And then once you got to the high school, you're with the same group of kids for all of those years, and you just seen how each other have grown, and you kept in touch. And like I see my classmates all here, and I feel so connected with them just because of how much we've been through together in the past 6 years. So yeah, thank you.
Very quickly, my name is Lisa Rathie. I live at 40 Hall Road. I just want to give 2 different perspectives. I moved here from Chicago 7 years ago, and anyone who knows me knows I am a huge fan of Madison because I have the perspective of having come from a different town where we started music in 4th grade. But the energy and the passion for the children here is a combination of a private school drive with a public school big heart. And I have to tell you, when you look forward, not only do I agree with the point about the MLS, about we want to make sure Madison represents those items that people care about. What you put your money in is what you're communicating is important to you. And lastly, I will say, after having a son who was returned from his freshman year in college and just had his son go to his orientation at UConn, and how happy I am that HAND has helped those boys launch. I have to tell you, both of them wrote their essays about playing their musical instruments. One mentioned how he plays his cello at the hearth, and that he swears he'd get a standing ovation if they could leave their wheelchairs. I had a boy almost in tears leaving for his dorm. He had his backpack and his cello. So I have to tell you that I asked him today, would you have selected the cello in 6th grade? He said, I don't think so. I was an adolescent brat, I doubt it. And now cello is where he puts his energies, his outlets, his sports disappointments. It's just very important. But I also want to add this. It is getting harder and harder to get into colleges. I am an older mom. I have students that are doing this. You may have younger kids, but I'll tell you, it's not easy. It's getting harder every year. So if you can write about experiences and put in those Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours with the instrument to make you stand out, I really feel that I want this younger group of students to benefit from what I had to, and that when I'm selling my house and I'm empty nest and I'm crying leaving Madison and this sweet little couple comes in with 4 kids, I want to be able to say, yes, I'm leaving you with the services I had, and we can talk about it. We already lost Friendlies. I wasn't here when so please, let me pay or carry on something when I regrettably, a long time from now, sell my house. At a beautiful real estate value, by the way, at a beautiful resale. So thank you.
Well, I just want to, on behalf of the board, let everybody know how much we appreciate your comments. There is no doubt from my perspective that this entire board values music education, as evidenced by the commitment to purchase and our budget assumptions, new instruments in the budget. It's so helpful for all 9 of us to hear, or 8, Greg's not here tonight, your perspective. And more information will come in our planning report, and and down the road. So we will move on with the agenda right now, and it is our student representative report.
Okay, I'm going to start first as the junior because the seniors have a lot of stuff, and Emily will be talking about that. But in terms of just the whole school, things that are going on, tomorrow is the 8th grade student orientation, and me and a bunch of other students are going to be leading tours and showing them what hand is really like, and introducing them to teachers, showing them around the classrooms. And a really interesting thing that I think is great about our orientation is we show them like a club fair, and they get to see all the different types of clubs and groups that we have oriented at our school, and it's a great place to sign up and learn about things like that. And along from that, the physics classes are taking a field trip to Lake Compounce on Thursday. So that's it. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so obviously the seniors have a lot of stuff going on. So first we have senior prom, which is at Cascade in Hamden at 6:30 on June 2nd. And we have a pre-prom assembly this Thursday to talk about opioid abuse and like the importance of staying safe with that, and also in just in general for seniors who might choose not to make as good decisions on prom night. We also have our literature presentations for seniors this Friday, and that is a school-wide event where seniors in AP literature classes go to the LMC and have 20-minute presentations. That's a culmination of about 2 months of work for their final project. And so anyone is allowed to come and attend if their teacher permits it. There's a yellow handbook that you're allowed to see, and they have catchy titles and an abstract, and you can decide which ones you'd like to see. Also, Monday, May 4th will be the unofficial, kind of official senior skip day. So if anyone wonders why 1/4 of Daniel High School is missing.
Do you mean June?
June 4th, yeah, that first month, and Monday after prom. And then Friday, June 8th, is our senior outing, where it's volunteer work this year. We have an option to do field day with the younger kids, or teacher helpers, or there's musical helpers, where the music students of either band or chorus or chamber orchestra or one other orchestra, 2 orchestras, are allowed to go and play their music for the little kids at the elementary school, to kind of inspire them to maybe take up an instrument. And then, and then lastly, Friday, June 15th is the last day of class for seniors. So that's all of our excitement before going off to college or wherever we decide to go.
Very exciting stuff. Enjoy it all. Assistant Superintendent's report.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I'll move on to something really exciting. The food services contract is up for renewal. So a few years ago, the board might recall that there was a vote to withdraw from the National School Lunch Program, and the impact of that has been an increase in both our school choice in food services and the quality. I'm looking at all the students out here who have greater choice and better food quality. We have entered into an agreement with Chartwells that is up for 1-year renewal. There's a lot of information in your board packets, and we will be asking to take action on that June 5th for this contract amendment. If you have any questions, please let me know, or Art Sickle will also be here at the next meeting. But in other matters, we also have a celebration from the Madison Rotary Club. They sponsor a Student of the Year program, and the criteria for that student selection is that students are honest, truthful, genuine, belief in fair play, and an authentic concern for others, thoughtful, and a seeker of advantages for all. One student from each school is selected, and they're presented their award at a breakfast that I understand is a great celebration. I haven't been able to get in because Mr. Grace always goes. I'm working on that. But Thursday morning, we had celebrations from Daniel Hand and Polson, honoring Roisin Byrne from Daniel Hand, and Natasha McCarthy from Polson, and Peter Wojtovich from Brown, I hope I pronounced that correctly, that were all presented with awards for Student of the Year. And we are celebrating our elementary school students on Thursday, June 4th. It's a great celebration. I also wanted to just keep the board up on our kindergarten enrollment numbers. Currently, we have 132 incoming kindergarten students that are registered with us. Our projection is 138, so we're actually right on target and looking very good for the fall. Any questions?
Thank you. Board member comments?
I want to personally thank everybody who came out tonight to offer their input. In terms of on the continuum of respectful input, you guys have been tremendous and we greatly appreciate it. This has been positive, and as a board, I'm sure my fellow board members also greatly appreciate it. My family has been very involved in the arts in town, and this is an important subject to me as well. One of my daughters in particular is about to graduate, and she's going on to a performing arts program for college. So this does have deep meaning for me. What I would like to offer for perspective is that in my over a decade on the Board of Education, I have never felt that the district, the school administrators, or the board have ever done anything on purpose to harm the kids or the community or to detract from education in town. We're often faced with difficult or challenging circumstances, and as an educational community, we come together to try and make the best of circumstances. We have a declining enrollment, we have facilities issues, and we needed to take the difficult step to close a school and to rearrange our grade distribution. And now, instead of having 5th and 6th grade at Brown, we have 4th and 5th grade at Brown. It's going from a middle school model to an intermediate school model. And this has some very consequential circumstances for the programming. We appreciate everyone's patience as we work through this. Please recognize that this is not easy, and although my inclination always is to ensure that arts programming remains second to none, I would also say that in my experience on the board, and again, it's been a long time, I find that it's always smart as a board member to put some faith and trust into the great ideas and well-researched and well-thought-out planning that our district tends to do. Yes, we have incredible music and art teachers. We also have incredible administrators and teachers. We will get through this as a community. We appreciate your patience. We don't know what's going to happen yet. Nothing is predetermined. Your input is very helpful, very valuable, and thank you very much.
So moving on to committee reports. Planning committee. Well, apparently tonight I have the most anticipated report. I'm going to start with our first agenda item, which was about the France 2019 trip. So I'm just going to pass out a couple of handouts. I think you only need two that way. So we started off the planning committee this morning with David Bryan coming from the high school to review the France trip that is being proposed for spring break 2019. They will tour Paris and South France. As per the usual, the teacher-to-kid ratio will be 6:1, and all children who are on the trip are underneath the Daniel Hand Code of Conduct while they're on the trip, even though they're not in this country. It'll be open to any child in grades 9 through 12. And I'm asking everyone on the board to review the packets that I just handed out and let me know if you have any questions before our meeting on June 5th. We will vote on this trip on June 5th at our business meeting. Next, Liz Battaglia, Ali Capetta, and Christy Simmons came to speak about the changes to the vertical CLC program that occurred this year and will continue to roll out next year. It will be called FASE, F-A-S-E, going forward, which stands for Functional Academic Skills Education. This is ultimately a life skills program that we offer here in the district. Throughout each phase, the special education department has developed developmentally appropriate activities for the children to be independent and to learn to be independent. And these activities have been aligned K through 12. We offer different activities and services at each school and level, even through the STRIVE program. The STRIVE program, for those that may not be aware of, is for after high school and is a program run jointly with Guilford and Clinton for 18 to 21-year-olds. Students require different instruction to achieve the goal of being independent, being an independent learner at each phase of life. This program also includes related services that may be needed like OT, PT, speech and language, mental health professionals, and the like. This program believes it's imperative to look at the whole child. All these services are outlined in the student's IEP. This program is currently underway at Ryerson and Hand and will roll out more to the middle levels next year and will be modified as needed for the 2019 school year with the new school configurations. We then went on to talk about the Polson grades 6 through 8 schedule that would begin for 2019 school year. Frank Henderson and Julie Phelps came to speak to us about the 6th grade model for the 2019 school year. The 6th grade model will stay exactly the same as it is today, but in a new location. It'll be 2 teacher teams alternating science and social studies 6 weeks at a time. Spanish will continue every day in grade 6. The related arts will stay the same. That's art, health, and STEM, each for 1 trimester. Elective offerings will stay the same as they are now: band, orchestra, chorus, theater, or a student can choose an additional PE, as we no longer offer study halls as an option. And 6th grade will have their own lunch wave. We also revisited the new Brown model, which I think much of you are here to hear about this evening. The planning committee continued their dialogue with Julie Phelps, Tom, and Gail around the Brown School model for the 2019 year. We in particular today looked at the music program. The first point I want to make is that we are not taking away any music funding at Brown. The second point I'd like to make is that Brown is going to be an intermediate school rather than a middle school, and it is going to house grades 4 and 5. So this ultimately changes how we have to look at the model and the schedule. So we overall feel like the model being proposed is adding and enhancing the current children's music experience for 4th and 5th. And we, as a committee, are proud and excited about this. To help clarify any confusion about the current model and the new proposed model, I thought we would review both. The current model. The 4th grade has only 40 minutes of general music once a week. The recorder is the main instrument that is explored. Students commit to band in grade 5. It is hard for students to jump in later, and many are advised to select theater or chorus if they did not enter band in the 5th grade. Parents are renting an instrument based on a 2-year lease in the fall of grade 5 after only a few months of exploration. Most leases are 2 years. The majority of 6th grade students continue with what they selected. The only time the entire band meets in grade 5 is twice in preparation for a concert. Otherwise, they are taught in small groups around the instrument they select. Students meet every other day for a total of 90 days based on selection of band, orchestra, chorus, or theater. There is room for a second choice, but most grade 5 students select only one performing art. Reasons why the board supports the proposed Brown 4-5 model. The Brown offerings have all students, not just interested, in both grades 4 and 5 participating in a 30-day instrumental and a 30-day music program, the content of which is to be determined, but will include beginning participation in chorus and beginning studying in band. When considering the additional time allocated to the performing arts, theater, music, instrumental, 1 trimester each for 40 minutes every other day, this model increases performing arts education by 34 hours a year over the course of grades 4 and 5.
This also creates a progression of learning in all performing arts that builds upon every student's foundational experiences before they are selecting. Current model has students selecting theater, instrumental band, orchestra, or chorus before every student has guaranteed experience in any of these electives. We are allowing students to explore a variety of instruments before rental commitments are made. This also allows grade 4 students to explore more than just the recorder in grade 4. The design of the content is yet to be determined, but possibly strings or keyboard. We as a committee also discussed with Julie Phelps the idea of an intramural or enrichment program before or after school for a band, orchestra, or chorus ensemble if there was interest, and this is something we will continue to look at over the coming weeks.
Thank you. Personnel Committee. Greg is not here. Violet, did you leave?
Nothing to report in.
Yeah, we're in the middle of Teamster negotiations, same. Policy Committee.
The Policy Committee did not meet this month. Nothing to report at this time.
Finance Committee.
Well, I'm happy to report that the budget passed last week, so that is positive for us for next year. And we met tonight after, I know that there has been discussion about the special ed expenses and the deficit that we have and how much exactly we would need to ask for from the town's special ed reserve fund, because we also had sort of the ESS position sort of looming. Fortunately, we actually received money back from the state for our education cost sharing, and in talking to the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen, they have taken the ESS piece off of our shoulders, which allows us to use the special ed reserve purely for special ed, which is nice. So we took action tonight to approve a letter for the board's consideration. The amount that we would ask for from the special ed reserve fund would be $82,000. We need to vote on that at our next meeting. This is just for your consideration tonight. I'm going to pass out the letter. The total amount in the reserve fund right now is $282,000, so that would leave us with a balance of $200,000 for next year, because it doesn't look like we'll be returning any money. However, we have a slight cushion in there. If we do return funds back, if we don't need it all, we will return this back to the town at the end of this year and ask them to please return it to the special ed reserve. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Learning Liaison.
Yes, the Learning Board of Directors met on May 10th. The Executive Director and CFO presented and discussed their 2018-2019 proposed budget of about $70 million. The board will vote on their budget at the June meeting. They also announced at that time that the Marine Science Magnet School was recently rated a gold medal school by U.S. News and World Report. As part of LEARN's ongoing research on regional transportation, the Executive Director urged all member districts to share their transportation contracts with LEARN to assist in the development of a comprehensive study on this matter. That's it.
Thank you. Facilities.
Right, well, we missed our last facilities committee meeting due to the storm on Tuesday, last Tuesday, and that's being postponed to May 31st. And the agenda for that will be to finalize our 10-year plan and make recommendation to the board on that, to start developing a CIP plan to present to the board, for the board to then present to the town CIP committee. And we'll be taking up consideration of when to turn Island Avenue School over to the town.
Thank you. Audience response to the information that was presented.
Kevin Sandor, 53 Kelso Springs Drive. You mentioned a 2-year lease. Does the school lease instruments? Because I have all 3 kids participated in band, and I've never had anything but a month-to-month. Maybe I did a year. Yeah.
So does the school lease instruments?
Because it was mentioned that there's a 2-year lease for instruments. I just never faced anything like that as a parent, and I had a question about it.
There are some leasing companies that require a 1-year lease on an instrument, and many that require a 2-year lease. So a 2-year commitment on leasing an instrument.
They bill you.
I was at 2 different facilities. I was at 2 different facilities. One was here in town, and the other one was Waterford. It was like a big chain music store, and I think the big chain might have been a year commitment, and with a lease over the summer.
Yeah,
but,
very standard.
Yeah, but I've never heard of. I just never. No one in shopping around for my kids. No one ever brought up a 2-year commitment. I think I would have looked at them like they had 3 heads if they did.
That's very.
Hi, Susan Yankee, 33 Cornish Woods. I am a music teacher. I'm a product, though, of the West Haven school system, where we started instruments in the 4th grade. But that's where I found out I couldn't play an instrument. And I ended up, though, getting a master's in music from Yale as an opera singer. But that was from the course, so no one had mentioned singing. So I just want to make sure you know how valuable that is. But I had 3 quick questions for you. You said there's a combined 34 extra hours of contact time over 4th and 5th. What's the increase in contact time for just 5th grade compared to what they're getting now? Do you know?
So the configuration right now is 90 days for students to participate in band, chorus, orchestra. That 90 days would be 30 days of music 60 days of music.
Okay.
And then 30 days would be added to the 4th grade. So the 4th grade program would become richer and broader.
Right, but
So,
5th grade won't necessarily.
right, students would have 2 sequential years of 60-day experiences.
Right, but you're taking
versus
away
one.
from the.
And I don't
understand.
want to be
It would be
heavy-handed, but
equal.
the rules that I explained earlier,
Oh,
in
I'm
terms
sorry.
of Robert's rules, we can't have an exchange back or forth.
Okay, all right, okay, then I'll just.
But feel free to
Right.
please write your other questions on the blue piece of paper, and we will certainly get all of the answers.
Oh, you will?
back to
Great, thank you.
And you can ask them rhetorically here too, but we
Yes,
just can't
please.
answer. We're not trying to stifle you,
No,
sorry.
Is there a music educator on your committee?
Yes, that was my
And will there be busing for before and after school programming? Otherwise, I as a parent could not have picked up my child and he would have been out of luck and not been able to sing in chorus after school if there's a bus in the budget. Thanks.
Thank you.
So I'd like to address something that was said before. I think someone mentioned that it's difficult to step into the program after this foundational 5th grade year. And I just want to say that as someone who has been a leader of the band and has been in many different programs, I've been able to step into, many different programs, but I've also had a friend who was a cheerleader, and she saw all the fun that we had in the stands at the football games, and she really wanted to join that fun, and she didn't know how, and she was really nervous because she had never had any musical training or anything, had no prior experience with any types of instruments. So I said, why don't you just talk to Mr. Gage? And so she did, and she was even more excited because Mr. Gage was like, yeah, totally, we'll do it. She was in her junior year of high school too. She's now a very happy member of the Tiger Band. She plays the xylophone, and she loves it so much. But she was able to do this even with no prior experience. She didn't have to take any lessons. She didn't have to spend any extra money. Mr. Gage even provided her with the bells because she was a little hard on, being able to spend the money on that. But she's so happy, and I know for a fact that this is not just her experience, one experience. This is for a lot of different people. So.
Hi again.
Hi.
So in East Lyme, I've mentioned before that we teach a sampler program, and in that I teach clarinet, trumpet, and violin. And this is a throughout the year rotation that my students get time on each of the instruments. And the idea behind it was that it would promote good decisions like, I didn't like reeds, so maybe the brass instrument was for me. We do a lot of singing in general music. I have a lot of students who don't enjoy singing, they like me, so they do it for me anyways, but they are so happy when we get to the instruments. We thought this would be a good way to get people hooked on the instrument that they wanted. It's promoting bad habits. I get to try this for 30 days and then I'm done and I can move on to the next one. So when we start in 5th grade, they're sitting there like, well, I'm sick of the trombone now. what do? And I have a lot of students in the middle school dropping out. So that's one thing that I'm going through right now and trying to reconstruct what we are doing in a program like that. A couple other things. With this instrumental program, you would have to buy the instruments that they are going to be trying, so the cost of the district would go up in getting these instruments that we need. The time on the instrument is also like, you know, you have 60 days on a certain instrument. What are you really going to accomplish in those 60 days? You have them for, I forget what the time said, I didn't write it down, I apologize. But what can you realistically accomplish with that time? A couple other things I heard, the small group in 5th grade, that is really, really beneficial to them. If you were to try to take the giant band class that we have in the high school level and teach them all how to put together their instruments of different instruments, that is chaos. So the small instruction is awesome. We can put them together at a band at the end and it's fine. You have an amazing result that way because you have that personal connection. You can go and you can talk and work with one student while the rest is learning or putting on the reed and making sound. I can help someone else specifically if it's small instruction. Lastly, the after-school piece. That is something that has been offered up to me many times, and that is something that I fear as a teacher. Because when I get put after school, that means my program is no longer important enough to be during the school day. And I know it's not something that's meant to be harmful, and I know it's not something that you guys are meaning it that way. But that leads to it being taken away, and that is my fear. Thank you guys so much.
Cynthia Dreyer. I just wanted to tag on to what Mr. McShane was saying. You know, he clearly has a good idea as a music educator himself about the impacts of this proposed new plan. And I'm wondering, just rhetorically, I know you can't answer, but did the planning committee use a curriculum committee that also included music educators? Because I think that they have some valuable input, and as you reconsider, hopefully, this change, I would hope that you would be consulting with music educators to see the actual impact of the change. So we can talk about hours of music instruction, but really it's about the content of music instruction. So it's very different, you know, what you're proposing from what we have now. And you also mentioned that the 6th grade curriculum remains unchanged, but it's just in a different location. So that would then set a precedent that you can do that. So even though 4th and 5th grade are together, it doesn't mean that they have to have the same curriculum. So I just would implore you to consult with the music educators and get some feedback. I have a feeling that a lot of the music educators in this town who don't want to speak are feeling kind of blindsided by this. I don't think they were very involved in the process, and I just want to make sure that they are going forward.
It's okay, Mrs. Dreyer, I'm going to break my own rule and just let our curriculum assistant superintendent address some of what you said, and I hope you all forgive me for breaking my own rule.
She's a rule breaker. We met with a group of music educators earlier today. And we talked to them about some of the time that's allocated and added to grade 4 and what might be potentially done there, as well as the shifts in grade 5 and where some of the small group instruction might be able to be considered within the course of the day. To go back to your comment about the model being exactly the same in grade 4 and grade 5, it's a lot more complicated than that when you look at the hours of instruction across the board, which is what we did as a system K through 12. So we as a system had to examine hours as a first step in the process.
And I just want to be clear, the planning committee takes recommendations from the administrative team. So they came to us after consulting with musical educators as well as other educators and each other and came with a recommendation. We are not the experts. We take the information, we synthesize it along with our experts, and we make the best recommendation for the district.
And that's our typical process with any subject. Okay. Any, yes.
The rest of my family's gotten up and spoken today. Right. So I'm Kim Sandor, 53 Kelsey Springs Drive, and all 3 kids have participated in the musical programs. Much like the young man, my husband and I have not a musical bone in our body, and I don't think my kids would have experienced music if it wasn't for the program, because it wouldn't have been something that I would have thought of encouraging them to do. And like Kevin had mentioned, he struggled with that clarinet when he first got it, and it didn't make anything that sounded like music. But he kept at it, and he kept at it because he had to for that whole year. It was a labor of love maybe that happened, but so much so that he switched to a euphonia, which I didn't even know existed as an instrument, and did extra classes with Mr. Leonard to learn how to play, and that's what he loves now. My daughter played the flute, then she switched to the one little sax, and then she switched to a bigger sax, and she plays 3 different instruments now. Blow my mind. I mean, again, not a musical bone in my body, but I think about Kevin John. I don't know that he would have, if he had only done it for one trimester, one chunk of time, would he have stayed with it and experienced the love and passion they have now for it? I mean, it's a riot to be hanging out with them, and they hear all this stuff that, I don't hear it. But they appreciate it and love it in such a different way, and I think it's enriched their lives socially. I think in a world that kids are full of stress and depression, and things are hard for kids to find their little groups. They love their electronics. This is an outlet. It's a stress reliever. I think the benefits of it are so much bigger than just having a certain amount of hours. There's a commitment, the learning curve, but it's the bigger piece of it that I think is so important. And if you just get to dabble, I don't know this gentleman's name, but he said bad habits develop. And you can always, dabbling is okay, right? But sticking with something and having that accomplishment at the end is just as important. So thank you.
I have something to just add on to that point. I had a friend in 5th grade who started out on oboe and realized that it wasn't really the instrument for her. So she had that extra year to figure out what she really wanted to be playing, so that way when she got to the larger school and to the larger music program, she was able to really jump in and start to play her instrument. She switched to the clarinet, which was a lot easier for her. But if she only had that 60 days or whatever it was, I don't think she would have had that or been able to figure out which instrument she wanted to play. And therefore that would have set her back in her musical career or whatever she wanted to be doing.
I know you spoke for Riley McDivitt earlier. Can you just make sure you add your name to the blue form? Thank you.
Eric Dillner, 33 Cornish Woods Road. I heard before that you said that they're mostly learning about the recorder, and that's not very beneficial. It is very beneficial because that's when they're learning how to read the sheet music. If they don't know how to read the sheet music, that's going to be extra time needed to learn how to read and play the instrument. Also, after school chorus, ensembles, and everything, that I am in 2 sports and on the robotics team as a co-captain and secretary. I have almost no time after schools, and during school I do chorus. That is a chunk of my time that I can relax, and that's mostly people that are just getting the credits, and all the ones that I want to be in are the ones that are after school. They need to bring those into school so I can experience that, and that's where I want to go.
My name is Kirsten Mader, 36 Alien Drive. I'm a sophomore, and I started my music career at like the age of like 8 or 9. Like I started in 4th grade, which is before, and I think it has benefited me that I've started earlier than some of those students, but I realized that having more time to prepare myself fully devoted to an instrument has greatly improved my musical experience in the schools. And I think that not spending enough time to like focus on a specific instrument doesn't give you the full experience, because I was awful. I've listened to recordings, I've listened to concerts, and I'm sorry that my parents had to sit through that. But I think being held to a higher standard where I'm accountable for not only myself, but also for the entire orchestra, the ensemble. It's not just me that I have to play for. I have to play for my parents who rented my instrument. I have to play for everyone else who has to sit in that class with me. And I think that not spending enough time on devoting yourself to it could really turn a student off from an instrument. I didn't get it in the first 30 days, it's not worth it to pursue it. I didn't get it in the first 30 days, but I love it now. I'm in an after-school program now, which kind of does not work very well, but I make it work. I've found rides. I stay to school until sometimes 6 p.m. if I have to. But because I had such a thorough education in music as a young child, I think it really benefited me now and where I am. So I would strongly suggest moving away from a shorter, more general education over a longer span of time.
I'm Kevin Mader. I've listened to the music. I still have my hearing, everything's okay. I will add that the after-school classes, well, I think that's an idea and an option perhaps. It becomes difficult for parents to kind of coordinate around there. I'm lucky that I have some flexibility in my schedule and I can get to pick her up, and actually the buddy system has been what's working out for them for getting back and forth to their after-school programs. But I guess 2 points that I want to make. One, my father taught in the Madison school system for 37 years, and his classroom is actually the Brown School orchestra room. So when I went into that room there to go see Kirsten play for the first few times there, I was reminiscing about days of old when I used to go into school with my father. There's a program that used to go a quarter of a year. So my father used to change students out very, very quickly in there. And by the time you taught the kids how to take care of their fingers and keep their goggles on to do what, they started their birdhouses, they started their napkin holders, and a lot of which never got completed and were brought home for firewood. So I guess I'm concerned that even with the extension of 34 hours or whatever that may be, I think that's based off a number that maybe isn't even a good starting point. 40 minutes of music for the kids in the elementary level may be too low. I'm not sure that that's a really good barometer on there. I think, overall contexts for learning are very, very important. And I think the arts, singing, it's playing in the orchestra or in the band, I think it's extremely important to the whole learning experience for the students. And I think that by engaging them early on and getting them around an instrument that they can put themselves into helps them in all the other classrooms. I could say that early on I wasn't sure if Kirsten was going to keep with it. I mean, she picked up the piano first, and then she went to the violin because at Brown you had some choices, and the choice that she picked was the violin. And I'd say the first year of screeching and scratching was a little bit tough, but the kids got better, and I could hear the progression. And that's really why we have what we have in this township today. We have excellent players. Michael, that was just here, I listen to him every time we're at the concerts. I'm fascinated by how well they play at such an early age. I know you guys are in the drafting stages. You're considering all the options on here. You're engaging the right minds, the experts. Learn from the experts. Ask them what is a good curriculum, what is a good course. Give the kids the best that we can offer them, because I listened to this gentleman from O-Line, and my heart goes out to him. I feel like he wants to put more into the school, and he can't get it. And we shouldn't lose it.
Kevin Center again, 53 Kelsey Springs Drive. You mentioned the teachers. So for me as a parent of 3 kids going through Madison schools, the band teachers and orchestra teachers have been phenomenal. I know that in my training as a lawyer, experts relying on, so I think for me, in my own experience, some of the best experts. I'd be interested to know if Mr. Gage, Mr. Leonard are on board with the proposed changes to the curriculum, because that would actually, if they were, that would alleviate a lot of my fears. Not really for my kids, not going to really affect them that much, but it's the attractiveness of our Madison community, which we will probably leave one day, but for the next generations that will backfill and come in and repeat the cycle.
You have a microphone, not only are you.
I mean, I don't think they work at all. We pretend they do.
You can turn it on.
I don't. All right, so I've heard people talk about band, orchestra, chorus. I started with theater in 5th grade, and initially I did not have a clue what I was going to do, but I remember the orientation ceremony, or the presentations they did for us in 4th grade when we were choosing our electives. And Mr. Price did such a great pitch for theater, and I really was like, you know, I really should try that. And it was really a trial by fire for me, because I really couldn't speak well, I was stuttering, I really couldn't act well. And through theater, I mean, I was able to act, and now I'm acting in the high school plays and musicals, and I was able to get a lead role for the last musical, which was a great thing. But along with that, I've learned so many important speaking skills and techniques, and through presentation, through theater, I found a fascination in debate, and now I'm looking into law for college. That's like a major that I'm considering. And being a kid that's never done any sports whatsoever, theater was a big part of my life, and it still is today. I don't ever want to lose that. And with these kids here, I mean, I know so many kids from orchestra, so many kids from band, so many kids from chorus that are so dedicated to what they do, and they definitely would never want to lose a year. I think the reason that you probably put in this curriculum was the fear that kids are signing up for the wrong classes and they drop out eventually. But I quite think it's quite contrary. I think so many kids, a good majority of them, stay with the program in the high school. They have the choice to drop it. And you can see our band room, it's always filled with kids. Our orchestra room is always filled. Same with the chorus. And I know we don't have a theater program anymore, but we do all that we can in the theater programs after school. I really think that they're a crucial part of the students here, and they give us a choice, you know? These kids enjoy being there for the whole hour, and when you have these 3 trimesters, sure, they might enjoy one part of it, but they might not enjoy all aspects. It might just be the same as sitting in a physics class for them. I mean, I quite honestly don't enjoy playing an instrument. That's something that's frustrating and tedious for me, but I enjoy theater. That was something I really liked, and I loved to grow through 5th and 6th grade, 7th and 8th, and now as a junior, that's been a huge part of my life.
Ryan, it will make you happy to hear that theater arts will start in 4th grade now.
Oh, great.
Are there any other? Yes.
Ken Dreyer, 228 Ridge Road. The one thing I've heard tonight is certainly passion from all the members in the audience, and Mr. McShane had some very good input from things that he has seen. And the one thing that I'd like to see is, I've heard why you're making the change, but if you could address at some point in the near future why this model that all the people in the audience are passionate about, why that won't work, and why you're forced to change that.
Tyler Busy again, sorry, last time I'll speak. I just keep thinking of things. So, as someone who considered music as a major and a possible career, I just want to say that it was mentioned before how difficult it is to get into college now. It's always been difficult, but it just is the price and the competition keeps growing. And from someone who toured colleges with the intent of becoming a music education or music therapist, there is an audition you have to do, and it's very stressful. But to prepare for that I wasn't taking any private private lessons up until this past summer. And even then, I was far beyond what a lot of other people who were touring these colleges, not just in like skill or anything, but just what I had learned from these schools. And this is with no outside education. I still, of course, did because I was nervous, and auditions are stressful, and I wanted to be the best prepared I could, but to take away that foundational year, I mean, to change the foundational year would be detrimental, I believe. We have so many great musicians, and it's a product of where you begin, and we learn passion from that first year. We learn just everything we take with us, and I really hope you reconsider. So, thank you.
Sorry, Susan Yankee again. I've worked at multiple universities as a music teacher, and if a student comes in with great talent, but they don't do well in the sight singing, or maybe piano, or they do very poorly on the theory test, we will not take them because we know they're going to fail as music students. There's no way they're jumping into music school with other students who already have been given these skills. And I've actually substituted for Mrs. Soderberg before, and she teaches them in 5th grade how to read music, which is something I did not get. So I really feel like if you have to take other things, don't take that component away. Because really, even if they have the best voice in the world, we know they're going to fail because they can't do the theory or the sight singing or the piano. They just can't read basic music. We won't allow them to university, so.
Hello, Peter Bizier, 6 Silk Road. Also work at Brown School. I've heard a lot of information tonight from everyone. I'm very impressed, and I just want to summarize a couple of things that I've heard. And it's something, choice empowers passion. And one thing that's really important in classrooms is that students have choice. And reading books, we empower our kids early on to read books that they really would like to do. And I feel very strongly that students having choice in what they take with music is really important at a young age because it's going to empower them and it's going to give them passion. We try to build stamina within our children and follow their passion. And I feel that that is just going to be an important direction for Madison Public Schools. We moved here 12 years ago for this district. Just so happens that things worked all right for our family to be very embedded in this district. But I really, truly feel that this whole idea of choice is going to lead to passion. It is going to lead to kids really following. Like if it doesn't work out at first, they have enough time to continue to change those instruments and pursue their interests in music. And music is such an important part. There's so much research that shows that kids that have lots of choice in education early on, playing instruments, do better in school. They do better in math, they do better in reading. So, my thoughts, thank you.
So you said that theater is now starting in 4th grade. So why aren't all 4 of these different ways of communicating the arts all traveling together? Because singing is related to theater because they have musical theater. They have the band that plays when there is musical theater, or orchestra that plays when there's musical theater. Why aren't all these traveling together?
Thank you all so
Thank you
much.
very, very much. Of course. Consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Discussion.
Oh, sorry, discussion.
Yes. I just wanted to call out 2 very generous donations in the amount of $1,500 each, both from the Brown Middle School PTO to Brown Middle School, one to assist in payment for the 5th grade Camp Hazen field trip, and the other to assist in payment for the 6th grade Lake Compounds and Camp Hazen field trips. Donations are greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I actually have one more question.
Great.
If you look at the actual line transfer amount, it looks large, but a lot of it is because we are transferring money to cover where the deficit is so that we could get down the request for the special ed reserve.
Thank you. That's helpful, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the May 8th Board of Education meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Yeah, you have to abstain.
You have to, I know you have to abstain. Okay, 2 abstentions. Did I say all in favor?
You did it.
Motion passes. Okay, action item, I need a motion to adopt the balance scorecard, which has been presented at a previous meeting.
Time to go.
Oh, that's the dryer.
It's the dryer in the back.
Scared me, sorry. Second, discussion. Yes.
I had made some recommendations and I missed the last meeting and I don't know what happened.
They were adopted.
They were adopted?
Yeah.
Were they?
We clarified one piece, but I think everything that you included was included, and there might have just been like a couple extra words added to one.
Okay, cool.
It's in the memo that the board sent prior to this agenda.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. In that case, I think I'll vote for it.
Yeah.
In that case, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Is there any old business? Any, the future agenda items, any future agenda items? Meetings and dates of importance are attached for May and June. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you. 2 seconds.